We are a decade behind the optimal grid we should have. And on quick numbers, I did it myself. £3 billion of annual constraint for 2025 could be mapped to just the B6 boundary alone. It's not labelled. Yeah, boundary flow. Now, if you take the EHVDC, the Eastern Coast cable, look at options, improve costs, annualise those, inflated 50%, say double cables, 1.5 cables, so you could carry 6 gigawatts additional secure. The annualised cost of that would be £0.27 billion per year on BOTT metrics. So £0.27 billion to save £3 billion. That's where we are. Every pound you put into big networks will save you 10.
Welcome to the Connectology podcast. I'm Hugh Taylor, CEO here at Roadnight Taylor, and in these episodes, our grid connection specialists, the Connectologists, dive into the evolving grid connections landscape, often taking expert guests with them in order to discover, generate, and share insights that might just help you and maybe even industry as a whole to connect projects faster, at lower risk, and at lower cost.
Hello and welcome to an extra Roadnight Taylor Connectology podcast. We've got Graham Pannell from BayWa with us and my colleague Kyle Murchie, and this is a little bit of a part two because we couldn't stop talking earlier. So we've got a few more thoughts from you, Graham, on some of the things that you would like to see changes on in the coming years.
TO cost was an important one, it's close to my heart. The possibility of replacing the DG forum. I think I did want to talk a little bit about reform national pricing, the delivery plan, what comes next. There's a question being wrestled with right now of to what extent is our electricity system planned and to what extent it is market driven. And I really wanted to bring back this message of they can harmonise. And we can talk a bit about golf. Yes, and how to fix constraints.
You're going to have to lean to your the Scottish counterpart there, right? You're right. So it's golf analogy.
Golfer, Kyle?
Yeah, it's been a while, but so yeah.
No is the answer.
Yeah.
Every element of the energy market can send a signal, but they each have a unique time signature. So a build plan, a capacity market T-4, for example, this is a multi-year. Zenio is again 3 years ahead. To NUOS, transmission network charging should send a long-run marginal cost signal. So it should be looking years ahead. It is failing in that other minute, but that's what, and I think Ofgem would agree, that's what it should be doing. We can move to shorter periods, perhaps footroom, reserve that NESO might procure at season ahead. Right down to price formation at day ahead. This sends a signal. Intraday, balancing mechanism within half an hour or the last hour and a half sends a signal to what's needed for an overall operating system. Now, the signals that we choose to do on a policy level need to harmonise and need to work in each time frame. I use golf in the analogy. You stand at your tee-off point, you need the ball to be in the hole. That's the end point solution. And you start with, you take the ugliest, bluntest wood, your driver, and you whack it as far as you can in roughly the right direction. And for me, that's what a strategic spatial energy plan does. It gives you a broad sense, that's the heavy lifting. It signals both the generation, but also important to the network, so you don't have a runaway, long-run, massive mismatch between generation and networks, which, as an aside, is currently where we are a decade behind the optimal grid we should have. And on quick numbers, I did it myself. £3 billion of annual constraint for 2025 could be mapped to just the B6 boundary alone. It's not labelled. Yeah, boundary flow. Now, if you take the EHVDC, the Eastern Coast cable, look at options, improve costs, annualise those, inflated 50%, say double cables, 1.5 cables, so you could carry 6 gigawatts additional secure. The annualised cost of that would be £0.27 billion per year on BOTT metrics. Yeah. So £0.27 billion to save £3 billion. That's where we are. Every pound you put into big networks will save you 10. That's what all conversations that resolve and constraint need to start with. We need to catch up on grid. We will also go at efficient BM, efficient constraint management. Let's not forget, network build is a massive prize for efficiency and reduced cost. Going back to the golf. So we did our plan. We hit it roughly as far as we could. We now need to correct. And this is like the shorter time frame. This might be day ahead prices or a flexibility market that's a week ahead. And that's like getting an iron on the fairway to go 90 yards and maybe you'll overshoot, slightly undershoot. And then what the balancing mechanism should do really should be the final piece, the final adjustment. And that is your putter on the green, the last 10 yards in the whole system is settled and balanced. Mm-hmm. What GD has done for constraint management historically, in terms of signaling constraint, is nothing on timeframes, nothing on the long term, nothing on the season ahead, nothing on day ahead.
And everything the DM.
Everything in the DM. Mm-hmm. And that is, the analogy is, after, even with an SSEP, so we take care of the planning, long run view, we're still leaving everything to the DM. In golf, that's like hitting the fairway and now only using your putter. Yeah. You're in a bunker, you're using a putter. We need some interstitial approaches of time frame. Constraint management markets, however local, can send useful signals so actors can respond in the right time frame so we're not leaving everything to the PM. Spoken to a very well-known operator of large-scale thermal assets, and I said, if you weren't offering purely the BM for 30 minutes ahead, if you were booked in a block on the day before, would your offer be cheaper? He said, yes, and significantly so. And it's logical, right? Yeah. If you know tomorrow. I think the Constraints Collaboration Project by NISO, while worthy in its own, is deeply, deeply unambitious. And a lot more focus needs to be shone on that. We need to reduce constraints in the short term, not only because it's the right thing to do, but also politically as a signal.
Yeah, I mean, it's a headline grabber, isn't it? Yeah, we know, that we are talking like multi-billion pound control costs every year now, and it's only going up. So,
and it's such a fast rate. If you go back to 15 years ago, when we were talking about the PG4M earlier, the costs there was insignificant. It was de minimis. In comparison to
some 500 million.
Yeah.
And inconveniently, I talk about major grid delivery. That catch-up is utterly crucial and hugely valuable. It is also inconveniently going to be a massive release to constraints in 2030, 2031, early 2030s, which is after the next general election. Mm-hmm. And we've seen forces that oppose renewable energy, not from science, just because it's a populist thing to do. We, as an industry, will need some shorter-term answers to this to maintain crew power, and I'm passionately need that.
I couldn't pick a better statement to end on. So thank you very much, Graham. I think we should maybe take you up on offer to write an explainer of golf terms versus electricity market tools and put it on the roadmaps and the website.
You should do that. You should also come to my board games convention in Milton Keynes. It's called HandyCon.
HandyCon, okay.
You can have 3 days of uninterrupted gaming as a complete free your mind.
Okay, if it's a grid game, I'll be there. Fantastic. Thank you so much, Graham, for joining us. Thank you, Kyle, very much, and thank you all.
Thanks for joining the Connectologists in this exploration. This knowledge sharing is made possible by the support of our clients. We thank them and hope it will help the whole of industry to connect society's critical infrastructure faster. If you found this useful, you're welcome to explore more free insights at roadnighttaylor.co.uk/connectology, or click on the Insights tab at the top of our homepage.